Since 2015, the supply of units hitting the resale market has been increasing. This led to a gradual fall in the average resale flat prices. But in 2020, the resale price index soared due to delayed BTOs and rising demand for HDB resale, even though the higher supply of HDB resale units entered the market. This suggests that demand is the driving factor, but why do prices rise so fast? Because there is also a supply side to the story. Housing supply is relatively inelastic. This means that home sellers won't respond to just a small increase in prices. Unless you dangle a huge cash offer in front of them, then they will put up their home for sale. An inelastic supply curve makes home prices rise even faster when there is a demand surge. We can see this by drawing this diagram. Due to delayed construction of BTOs, demand for resale units rose at every price. Meaning, for every possible price of a HDB resale, there are more people or more quantity of buyers who want to buy. Meanwhile, some flat sellers put up their HDB flats up for sale because they stand to reap from the higher prices. But only just a few sellers would do that. The new intersection is the increased market price which we observe people buying and selling at. And when more flats are being built and go MOP, there are more resale units up for sale at every price point. But even with a large supply of units, the price impact is not as much because supply is inelastic. I think that current HDB flat owners are also more cautious nowadays as they spend more time at home, so they are less likely and less interested to sell their homes. And that makes the supply of flats even more inelastic, which would then intensify any price increase due to higher demand. But the converse can also be true. If demand falls, then prices will also fall fast. But I think it's unlikely, right? Because HDB is the most basic form of housing in Singapore and the most affordable one compared to condos, landed properties, and whatever that's out there. So the demand is always going to be there. Some demand is always going to be there for HDBs. Interest rates have also become very low, so it's cheap and easy to borrow to buy a house. The only few times when HDB flat prices fell was in the 1997 Asian financial crisis and after the 2013 cooling measures. Most of the time, it keeps going up, even though the government has been building new flats every year. And people prefer to move into a resale HDB flats in months rather than wait for a newer flat in years. So I wish that I had bought a unit earlier instead of waiting for prices to fall. There probably wouldn't unless another wave of cooling measures come about, which I probably wouldn't want to bet, and we don't know when it's going to come also, or would it even come? We wouldn't know. But at the same time, we shouldn't rush into buying a flat just because we know that prices are probably just going to go up in future, because we have to choose one carefully out of all the sea of flats out there. So I think my takeaway is that as soon as we have identified a choice unit, we should grab it instead of waiting for prices to fall or waiting for another similar unit to come by in future, because chances are they will come by, but probably at a higher price.